pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. So, can I get a motion to approve the agenda as presented? Are there any items that you would like pulled?
Do you want donations?
On the consent agenda? That's already out.
Okay.
So, why do you not have the details? Okay, so, all right, then can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda? All those in favor? Please bear with me. This does not.
Okay. No, you click.
I don't usually use this.
Here, wait. Here. Click right here. Click on here.
Yeah, it's
See
just
the little icon right over here? Here, wait.
Can I get a? Could you just go to the next section, which would be the donations, please?
Is that
Thank you.
donation?
Okay, we have 3 donations. One is the donation of the BVPTA for the smart board. Oh, thank you, Charles.
No, thank you, Carol.
Oh, thank you. Mine's at home, sitting on my dining room table. So or drive it over. That's There's $1,500 for the smart board. There was a donation to. We'll approve them all together. From the BVPTA. There's a donation to the Margaret McCory Scholarship, which is for a high school senior, for someone who will be studying, I believe, in the medical field. And a donation again for Katzenstein, which is, once again, it's for students with special needs, and I believe it's summer camp. Thank you again to the BVPTA, to the individual family that made the donation to Ms. McCory's scholarship, and to the Katzenstein Fund. If I can get a motion to approve these 3 items. That's a wonderful thing. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you. That brings us to audience comments. None yet. Okay. Superintendent's report.
Well, I'm going to keep my report short and sweet because we have a couple of really great presentations set up for this evening. You'll notice a little later on we're going to talk about our capital project. You'll see a bunch of legal documents for the board to pass and approve to allow Roseanne on behalf of the district clerk to move us forward, and also the resolution for the $6.2 million proposed bond. We received some really exciting news a couple weeks ago, and we're still formalizing what our next steps are, but through the Career and Technical Education Assistance Center through New York State, Hendrick Hudson has been selected as one of 5 school districts in the state to participate in a national effort to build more career pathways for high school students. Essentially what this will allow us to do is create a more formal partnership with the business community, with higher education institutions in our region, and also employers in our region, to create pathways for students starting as early as middle school to identify career interests and link them up with a series of courses which will end up in an approved career pathway, which could be anything from an advanced regents diploma or a regents certificate of advanced study, and also line them up with the business industry to help create a workforce from our own students for the public and for students that participate in workforce in our region. It's very similar to what this district has done with Project Lead the Way in terms of STEM, that you have meetings a couple times a year with the local business community to build programs and make sure that what students are learning is congruent with what the demands are in the workforce. So this will help encourage that growth, and will also give us an opportunity to look at other career pathways in addition to science, technology, math, and engineering. So that is very, very exciting. We're waiting to hear what our next steps are. One part of the next step will include a site visit from the folks who lead this study, both in Washington and Albany. We'll spend a day in our district and work with a team of folks from our community and our district to help identify and set the stage for what those pathways might look like. So that is exciting news, and probably most importantly, a lot of money comes with that. A lot of money for staff development, for training, but also for travel, to go to high schools around the country that have these articulated programs and to interview teachers, students, and community members to see what these kids are up to after they graduate high school. It's an outstanding effort. It was something that started, to be honest, with a gentleman who my father used to work in the state education department with, who now runs a consulting organization, who knew somebody who knew somebody. And in a really short period of time, with the help of Alice and Dan Callahan and Jim Mackin from the high school, and also Beth Gruber, who did an outstanding job, we put our application together. We talked about where Hen HUD is in terms of a career pathway in STEM and where we want to go. And in a matter of weeks, tens of thousands of dollars are going to float through this district, which will open many, many doors for many, many kids for many, many years to come. So we will have more info when it comes available, but it's really exciting and something we'll certainly keep the board in the loop on.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. I'm excited. I think it's a terrific thing, and to be chosen among like 5 districts is 5 in the entire state is phenomenal. So
Great honor.
thank you very much, and thank you to those who pulled this together for us. This was truly what a great thing. Thank you. I'm sorry, did you have more?
No,
that was it.
Go ahead.
That's a biggie. Okay. Well, we did have committee reports, but I do not believe, did we, beyond the facilities reports, I don't really think there's much to discuss today.
Well, Barbara and I went to a BOCES meeting, Putnam Northern Westchester BOCES, on what board members should know about the Affordable Care Act, and it was pretty daunting. I do not envy the office staff, Enrique in particular, who's going to have to deal with all of this. It's going to be a lot of record keeping and a lot of attention to detail so that we do this right. And it was, it was an hour and a half long seminar for lay people like us who don't deal with the insurance agencies every day, and it's quite something.
It was at times very confusing, but I think the part that really had our attention is how you really have to be so on top of how many days somebody substitutes for you, because now it is possible that if you work so many days, the district is liable for your health insurance. They said even down to coaches and how many hours they're putting in with our students while they're, coaching, and perhaps even having SubFinder have built-in ways of keeping track of how many days somebody substitutes in a particular district, and how that may be changing the whole face of substituting. And the fines are very substantial, if you're not doing something that you should be doing. So it was very interesting, and actually a lot of people were walking out with more questions than they even had coming in. So it's very interesting.
Thank you. Thank you for going.
Charles and I also went to.
We had a meet and greet.
committee.
You want to tell them about that?
No, you can tell them about that.
We had a good discussion. Mr. Mattis came, and we saw a couple of other people.
Great.
Huh?
I was talking about Reed.
Oh, I was talking about meet and greets. Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Well, we did both. That's why
We
we're
did.
together.
We had a good meeting. We did read, which is the Regional Education Advocacy District, and we met at Lakeland last Thursday, and we had a very good discussion around what the target of our focus this year will be, and it looks like we're going to look at, how would you describe, what are the costs of getting kids to
All the unfunded mandates.
what are the costs of getting kids to proficiency in both in money and time? And if our districts can look at that and put a cost on it, then we can take it forward to other groups to advocate to change that. And so what is that cost of getting children to proficiency?
Right. I think that some of the questions that we were looking at is being able to actually examine the validity of testing in New York, year one. What is it actually costing to produce these tests themselves, as well as what does it cost to have our children be able to be successful and ready for this testing that we know is coming.
And one of the key drivers behind it, when we were talking, Reed was the first group that looked at unfunded mandates, and we brought it forward. We gathered data, brought it forward years ago after great effort, and then we got it to NYSBA, and NYSBA took it and ran with it. In our NYSBA newsletter, their advocacy letter this last week that we got, they talked about the 77 unfunded mandates that were brought forward by the legislature, that they defeated 76 of them. And so, they took it and ran with it. So if we can bring forward things like that, especially on the time of testing and proficiency, we can go forward. Marion and I also attended the SEPTA meeting last night, and you know the ladies' names.
Carol Bacamini and then Monica from Student Advocacy in Elmsford.
Yes, they gave a very good presentation, and it was well attended. There were probably 30 to 40 people there, and very well. And they gave out books and for people who attended, and 101 questions about your child's disability and answers about your child. And then Joe and I went to the BV Fair on Saturday.
I was there too.
Oh, Barbara was there. So it was a lot of fun.
Sounds like it was a busy week.
Yes.
And we were also at dinner. Mary Pat and I were at the Hall of Fame dinner. Thank you to everybody who was involved. Yes, Joe was there. The three of us were at the dinner, the Hall of Fame dinner, Mr. Mattis, Mr. Morrow, and the total committee. Inducted people into the Hall of Fame. It was really, really nice. There was a lovely ice skater from the 1950s who was inducted. I can't remember her name. I am so sorry. Do you remember? Markley. Carissa Charles was inducted for swimming. The 2000 year baseball team was inducted, and Nardone, Mike Nardone.
And there's a young man, Alex Lawrence.
Right.
No, they retired his number.
runner.
That was something else. A runner, Alex or Reggie.
Reggie.
Reggie Edwards. Thank you. I knew it was a.
Marcia's gentleman. It was a lovely, lovely evening, and people were just so happy, to be inducted. And we followed that up with homecoming and the homecoming game, and people were actually introduced on the field during halftime. It was a really excellent, very busy weekend, but it was very worthwhile. Also, we had IMC. I just feel like
I'm just
kept
letting you
going,
roll, Barbara.
Meeting to meeting to meeting. It was definitely a very busy week for me. And IMC, we discussed math, the Common Core math program, and we're going to start having nights for parent nights, where in different schools, each school will host a different grade level and a different parent night. More information will be coming on that. And
I'm just letting you go.
I know. Beth Gruber and I also went to the senior citizens and met with them, and that was my week. I got to see my family very little, but.
Joe, you want to talk about today?
Oh yeah, about today. We went to Entergy, and it was a mix of spooky, freaky, and really cool. We had a day-long tour. We received about a 2-hour training session, which really was a history and also an understanding of how you create energy, and a complete tour of the facility, from cooling centers to apparatus that keep the fish from coming into the facility from the river as they cool everything. A really exciting plant, and it was at the end of the tour that we talked about the skill set and what kids need to be able to know and do in order to work there. and high levels of problem solving, hands-on learning, high levels of application. You need to know a lot about science or engineering and math and technology, but you have to be able to work in a team. You have to be flexible. All of the things that I think today public schools are struggling with, because we have such a content-rich curriculum without the opportunity to really gauge those soft skills with kids. And that's the frustration. But it's great to know that a huge and a very major player, an employer in our backyard, wants to be a partner with us on academic programs. And on our way out, Carol and I were talking, we need to find a way to get our kids interning there and understanding that there are jobs in chemistry, physics, and math and technology right in our own backyard. And that's going to be a huge piece for us to undertake with Entergy moving forward. But it was an outstanding day.
It was, go.
I also found it interesting that you do not need to have a college degree to get employed there and to be able to work up through the ranks and really get pretty high-level positions, because they hire a lot of people out of the military who might not have gone on to do a formal higher education but are well educated in what they need to know to work at the power plant.
And they do a tremendous amount of training in-house. They teach and learn. But that was the other thing, what Joe mentioned. It's surprising there are so many disciplines represented. Chemistry, how much of it is run off of chemistry? How many chemistries? And physics, health technicians, and all these other different kinds of jobs that you just don't think of when you think of a nuclear engineering plant, but there's a very wide range of jobs.
There was part of it that actually looked a lot like the behind-the-scenes tours of aquariums that I've gone on, because the water quality is so important.
Yes.
We went several years ago, or last year, I believe, because and it truly is. I wasn't able to go today, but I went on the tour last year, and it really is. It's as you said, it's daunting, but it's the level of opportunity that's also there is, and just for the understanding, and you derive a certain level of comfort as well, realizing just the amount of the precautions and safety measures that are in place as well. So what struck me most, though, was the opportunities, and what I would like to see is the opportunities to do something with the kids, because it's a tremendous asset, obviously, for the community and jobs and such, but for the students as well, to learn what they are. And that's what struck me as well last time.
I know. Actually, they mentioned today we're taking 4 classes there this year.
Good.
3 of the Project Lead the Way, and then 1 chemistry.
Probably chemistry.
Chemistry, thank you.
Yeah. So that's
Terrific.
a major step. That's the first
Absolutely.
time we've done that in
That's
a
a
while.
big step. All right. So you can see that we do more than just come here every 2 weeks.
Very busy.
That brings us to our presentations for this evening. The first one will be our budget presentation, our discussion of the budget calendar.
Do you want me to go back to that?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Good evening,
right.
everyone.
Okay.
As every year, during this time, we need to approve our budget calendar for the following school year, the 2014-2015 school year. So today we're adopting the budget. On the November 26th board meeting, we will review the budget. As always, we will start at the beginning of the following year. We'll start on January 8th. We'll review the budget, projections, and overview of revenues and expenses. On the following board meeting, we'll look at specific parts of the budget, the Board of Education, Central Office, and Building Supervision. Then on February 12th, we'll look at technology and athletics. Then on February 26th, at special education. By March 1st, we'll need to is the deadline for the tax cap. We'll have to submit our tax levy limit to the state authorities. March 12th, we'll do K to 12. By the 26th, we'll do the capital budget, meaning operations, transportation, and then that's when we do a combined budget presentation with the library. And then by April 9, we'll have the final request from the Board of Education, and then we'll approve the proposed budget. April 22nd, we'll have the BOCES vote. That's on a Tuesday. Then we'll have a public hearing on May 7th, and we'll vote on May 20. And if there's a need for a revote, that will be June 17. Any questions?
This is the same schedule
As
years
every year.
past, just changing the, just, updating the dates.
Updating the dates, yes.
All right. So, does anybody have any questions with this, or?
Yeah, on April 9th, the final request from the board, shouldn't that be moved up? Because in all reality, we're really not going to change the budget that night, and have you revise it.
My suggestion is that we keep it as it is, and then if by March 26th we see that there are still some arguments or some changes that the community and the board decides, then we can have another meeting between March 26th and April 9th.
We can also work in things like the meet and greets in a public, if we need to, to have like even individual sessions if that's the case. But frankly, people tend to make their concerns known prior to that. So.
Well, but we've had it in the past where people came on that night expecting us to change something, and we really couldn't.
Well, it says that the budget will be approved as well that day.
Yes, but
So.
Somebody's asking if you're making a final request that night.
Well, if
It's
you'd like
hard
to
to work
move
the
that to the
numbers in.
26th, that's, but it makes sense. The only
Okay, we'll move the final
the
request
26th?
for the 26th.
all right.
And if we have to, like Enrique said, go and, schedule another meeting in the middle if it gets to be bad. But you can't come to that April 9th and
Correct, but I mean,
request
if that's the
something.
case, then it's not final. So, or anticipate, in terms if you're talking about another meeting in between. But absolutely, we would ask people to please come and address, your concerns throughout the process. Don't wait, don't wait till the 26th or the 9th. Let us know, please, all the way along the way, because that's, it gives us a lot more latitude to make changes, because everything affects everything else. It's never just a single change. If the money's if it's coming out of, if it's going to go to this instead, it's got to come out of somewhere else. So the sooner you let us know, the better if you have concerns. So thank you. Can I get a motion to approve the budget, the calendar? Budget calendar. All those in favor? Thank you. That brings us to the discussion regarding the capital project.
Yeah, we are at the point where we are seeking the board's formal approval to move forward with the $6.2 million project that we've talked about the last couple meetings. In your board docs are all of the official resolutions that we need to move forward legally and to meet our timeline for posting in the paper, and also for timelines with state ed, so that we can ask the public to vote on this proposition on December 10th. I don't know if Enrique or Roseanne, if you want to add anything, but it's pretty much the standard paperwork to make this official on our end, so then we can start communicating the specifics of it, have roundtables, have public meetings, and all aiming for a December 10th vote.
And we, originally, as people are, or who've been here, are aware that we did talk about doing it a little bit sooner. We backed it up a week, just, as much as we could. I know that there has been, the information has been all over the website, and Mr. Hochreiter has sent out an email to the community in terms of what exactly is entailed in this capital project. As we've discussed, it's pretty much there's no fluff. It's infrastructure and technology, essentially. It's safety and security and septic, plumbing, HVAC, and electrical. And then things like network and bandwidth upgrades, increased reliability and storage, cabling and electrical, Wi-Fi, laptops, increase in installation of smart boards, and all items that we believe are essential. Again, this is necessary. These aren't items where it's not about the aesthetics. It's about actual functioning, and it's all need based. Does anybody have anything that they'd like to add?
Some of the people, I guess, have been concerned that we're not separating these as like vote for A, vote for B, and why we're just bundling this as one whole bond.
Well, that would be because I don't believe, we've had the discussion, and there's really I don't think there's a need to separate them out. I don't think it's an either or. It's not, again, we're talking two necessary items. It's not apples and oranges. These are two necessary items that we need to move ahead and to secure the actual foundation of our school, both academically and physically. Does anybody have anything to add?
No, I think community members who have been following us know that this board has been very responsible, and we've listened to the community, and this is our bare bones of what we can do. I think we'd all wish we could do more. We wish we could do the science, but we know that we have to do what is essential, really separate the needs, and these are needs. Our technology, our septic, our building safety is at stake here. So exactly. It's not anything
it's not
optional.
Something we even have a choice about.
Yeah.
It is something that absolutely has to be done.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But that was a concern. That was a question asked to me.
Thank you for bringing that up. Unless if there's nothing to address.
One question on the resolution. Someone had mentioned to me the possibility of having multiple polling places. Instead of just having Frank G. Lindsay as being our only polling place, should we move to having?
Well, I think that's something we can address afterwards. That's not.
Well, it's in the resolution that we have one polling place.
I think it becomes a matter of
I think
expense.
that because I think it becomes a matter of expense, but I also think that's something that if we do it now, we're going to wind up doing it thereafter. So we're not looking at a conversation for just this particular vote. We're looking at down the road. We're looking at thereafter.
Can people do absentee ballots?
Yes.
As well as if they can't make it to the polling
Yes.
place, they could do that ahead of time.
Absolutely.
People can pick absentee ballots up
and-
at the district office.
So those are
What's the
available.
cost to hold a vote?
It
Roughly.
would be, if we split it, it would be double the cost.
Well,
We'd have to have
roughly,
first
what is
in.
the cost?
I'd say about $5,000.
5?
I mean,
So-
even if we split the people, like instead of having, I don't know, let's say we have a dozen people at, not for the discussion right now, but very quickly, if we have a dozen people at Furnace Woods and we split them, let's say we send them to Blue Mountain or something, it would still be the same?
But you need to double
You need
the.
to have just as many polls. You have to have the actual. You'd have double. You'd need the double amount of people.
But why? If you have, like, if you
Because you
tell all
need-
people who live over here, they have to go over here and.
Correct, but you still have to. You're going to have to get three. The tables. That doesn't change, and you still have to have the machines, the polling machines, and you have to have the same number of people to man them. You can't have just one machine here and one machine there. You have to have at least 2 machines in each place, and actually somebody has to be there in your position as well to supervise the entire the day. It is double the cost. So at this point, I think given this, at this point, I'm inclined to just leave it as one polling place. Does anybody, as opposed to changing it?
I think because it's very centrally located. you know.
Yes. So, if everybody's comfortable with that, can I get a motion to approve the resolution to have the bond, to present this bond on December 10th in the amount of $6.2 million for capital projects for this district? We've had weeks of it. We can have public discussion. Does anybody have anything they'd like to add regarding the bond? Okay.
I spoke with Barbara today, and I just want to relay the message to the rest of the board. The Buchanan seniors requested or expected this bond to be broken in two. And in the process of that, they said that if the computers are included with the septic and all the rest of the infrastructure repair, they will vote no. So I don't know if the superintendent was there yesterday, but I got that word this afternoon. So as much as everyone else thinks it's okay, that's their voice until you guys are able to smooth that out and help them understand. I think it's a technology issue for many of them. They just may not get it, that it is for their grandchildren and future grandchildren. So that's just what I wanted to let you know.
I also think if we continue to, have dialogue with some of the senior citizens groups, it would behoove us as board members to reach out to them.
I think we should. I think, and to make them to help them to understand why this is a necessity.
I think it's made a huge difference, visiting at for playing senior citizens. So a little bit of time goes a long way.
Yeah, I was able to meet with them briefly on their busy agenda yesterday and talk to them about the sort of the nuts and bolts of what was in the bond, and that certainly yesterday's discussion was the first of many, and they certainly appreciated that. So this will give an opportunity to get into greater breadth and depth.
Absolutely.
And perhaps a standalone meeting focused on the bond instead of, I was one of 6 bullet points of who was addressing them yesterday.
And I think it is just education too, because if you've heard our presentations, technology is how our kids learn. They're digital natives. That's what they do.
Our district runs.
It's how our district runs. It's everything we do. If we don't have a system, we can't do attendance. We can't do health. We can't. This. So it's so essential. It's like a septic system.
Absolutely. On top of that, we have state mandates that are coming down very soon, where we're going to have to probably do testing via computer and online. And if we don't have the capability to do that, then we're not meeting those requirements. So it's really, our backs up against the wall.
It's optional. This is.
I will be in touch with Mr. Martinelli.
Okay, the other thing that flashed in my head, and I just went right out of it again, but it had to do with there are some stalwarts that really are looking for their taxes to be reduced. And that's where the mandate, the unfunded mandate, really has to be explained. I said this once or twice before, that that's something that may not be grasped as quickly, and they do look for that. That's why I asked you before about you're going to have a bond, which will increase the taxes, and then you're coming into the budget. And Mr. Catalan said we'll be under the cap, but there will be also other issues under that cap that may increase, whether it be health benefits or whatever the case. That won't be involved. Okay, I'm just saying that.
Just answer. When we're talking under the cap, we're talking the whole budget.
Okay.
Absolutely everything, and I made my calculation, and the budget, our cap for next year is going to be under 1%. So the tax levy will be under 1%.
Okay. Well, it was already stated to me. Don't have them come talk to us after the budget is passed. Please come and talk to us before the budget. I only relay the message. I'm only the messenger.
Thank you.
And I don't even belong to the seniors, but I'm the messenger.
No, there's absolutely the intention to visit with the seniors, both before this vote as well as prior to the budget vote as well. If you have something, please come up. Thank you.
I wanted to know.
Can you state your name?
We need your name.
My name
please.
is Mark Quarles. I have 2 kids. One's in Blue Mountain and one's in Henhud High. I wanted to know Quarles, just if you have to put it in the minutes. A lot of people don't know how to spell the last name. With News 12 being as active as it is, and such a prominent tool today. Has the board looked into utilizing that as a way of communicating to everyone, what's going on up here? Because a lot of times information doesn't go where it needs to go. Always the negative reaches a lot more faster than the positive. And this is really important. And the second thing is, I'm just wondering, how effective has the board been in communicating to parents about the importance of leaving the home and going to the polls and voting on behalf of their children? Because we're taxpayers, but these are our children. Mm-hmm. And if you look at the history, probably you'll say that most parents don't take the time to come out and vote. So therefore, the people who don't have children in school are the ones whose voices are heard louder than ours. And I don't know if that has been, I'm just saying, per school,
yes, actually it has.
Notifications or rallies around, letting us know, listen, this is important for your child, and kind of explaining it. Some people understand things a little bit differently.
Yes. Mr. Hockert is going to discuss the News 12 part of it, but I can tell you that these schools actually use this as an opportunity to explain to the children the voting process. And quite often what they have at the same time is they have they give the kids a chance to vote on something like what to name the playground, or what to have for whether to have a reading breakfast or a reading lunch. Something that when you're 8 years old is like really cool. And the kids come out and they are just as happy. I mean, they go in, they go with their parents to vote, which I think is a wonderful thing to let them understand the process. But then before they leave, they vote. They set their ballot for their school and what their vote is. So they go home. Even if their parents weren't aware of however that's possible, because there are things such as the Connect Eds go out and such. The children make them very aware of the fact that they have to go vote for, these particular things. And the kids, they're very aware of it. When my son was when he was in elementary school, he would come home and tell me exactly what they're voting for, because what lunch they're having, and it leads you into the conversation of why you would be having that vote in the first place.
Additionally, each of the board members are represented at the individual schools' PTAs. So each of us serve as liaisons to the various PTA organizations in the schools. And we are there at almost, I wouldn't say every single meeting, but we are there the majority of the meetings. And, we do listen to people, and we are out there. So I think parents here, those parents that are there at the meetings certainly hear us, and if there are any questions, we're there to answer it, as well as the meet and greets that we have in the community.
So, if you would like to have to address the first question.
Yeah, what is in terms of Channel 12, I know we've reached out to them a couple times to see if they would put some information out there for us or come and do a story, and sadly we've been turned down every time.
Do you work for them?
Yeah. Do you have a connection?
Unless it's bad news.
Yeah,
If it's bad news.
that's exactly it. That's exactly it. And a conversation that we've had over the summer and early fall as a board is creating mechanisms to put out the good news and become our own sort of, not media channel, but become our own communication vehicle, because good news doesn't sell. Bedford, for example, last night or yesterday, their voters approved just shy of a $32 million project. That got, maybe 6 seconds of TV space on the bottom ticker of News 12. And they couldn't get a story from News 12 out ahead of time. That was from a conversation I had with their superintendent a week ago. So, but they would report it if it failed. So I think it's a sense of on News 12 and really any TV channel, what will sell and get viewers to pay attention to us. So we've got to knock on doors and get things out by way of email or Facebook or Twitter to let people know what we're trying to accomplish, because to rely on the media can't be relied on.
Additionally, too, hoping that we're going to have a few things at the school to attract people, like we're talking about having an art show there or something where people are just going to come anyway. Oh, we're voting tonight, too, yes.
So,
Hi, my name is Lee Justo. I'm a parent of 2 children at Frank G. Lindsay. I've never been active in school board stuff or anything before, but about a month ago, my daughter brought home a homework that was just incredibly disturbing to me. And I started looking into Common Core. I found out a lot of things that disturbed me even more. I'd like to ask the board, because this ties into budget, ties into technology, everything else. There is an expert that would come and give a presentation about Common Core and all the aspects of it. You mentioned voting. I mean, these are unfunded mandates that we have no say in. I think the community really deserves to learn more about this. It was just kind of thrust upon us, and I'd just like to ask the board's permission if we could do something like that.
it is being discussed. It's absolutely to make people more aware of what's going on and to best deal with it. So it was thrust upon us as well. So.
Oh, I know it was.
So.
I mean, which is surprising to me, because I went and I saw the New York State School Boards Association, and it sounds like you guys should be empowered to have control over this, but it seems like you don't. So,
but we will, absolutely. We're working very hard to try and get the parent, everybody up on.
Who can I speak to on the board to give a name of someone to come and speak to the parents? Is there someone?
Speak with me. Maybe if you're going to hang out for the meeting, we can connect and talk a little offline.
Okay.
Just real quick, I think what we're seeing in terms of Common Core and the position of school boards or school districts or associations is the more districts are learning about not just the Common Core and the guts of it, but the funding and financial piece. I think the school boards, well, I know the School Boards Association, the superintendent's group, are asking more questions of the commissioner and of the Board of Regents, and that started a couple weeks ago in Poughkeepsie, and things are getting a little dicey.
I was in Poughkeepsie. I saw it firsthand.
Yeah. Oh, you were there?
Yes.
Oh, boy. Things are getting a little more dicey. And
as they should be.
Yeah. So I think...
Actually, Mrs. Ryan had a very good comment about that when we were discussing it, in that the Common Core is something that is a good idea, but it should have been implemented in stages, year by year by year by year.
Honestly, I've spent a lot of time reading about Common Core. It's not the implementation. It's the curriculum that's in it. Just to bring everyone's attention to this is the assignment my daughter got. It basically asked her to draw the mass murder of Nazis. Okay, she's in 5th grade. I was shaking when I read it. That's the kind of thing that they're... So it is not the implementation, it's not the testing, it's the unfunded mandates, it's this ridiculous curriculum. We've all been through college, most of us. We know what education is. It's not Common Core.
Thank you.
I appreciate your time.
Yes, thank you.
To give you a little bit of background, we did, the Board of Education got a very brief overview on August 21st, so there is a very brief presentation on the website on some of the Common Core. And we all are learning as we go, but there is a lot here. It's a great idea in theory. It's great to have rigor, but there's a lot of bugs that need to be worked
In the
out.
implementation, exactly.
Yeah.
So to get back to our original, it was indeed to vote on the capital bond project, to vote on setting the date of December 10th, to vote on a 6.2 million capital projects for the district. Can I get a motion to?
Will we also have the other proposal in there to give the money back, to reallocate the money?
That's separate.
That's separate, but but is that part of this resolution too?
We have
It's
two
a separate resolution.
We have separate resolution.
After discussing with the lawyers, they felt that it was going to be too convoluted, and the easiest way to do it is for us to reduce the debt with that money from the last bond and use the money from that bond, but not as a proposition, just as part of returning the money to the community by lowering the debt profile that we have and instead of taxing them for them using that money. But basically, it could have been a second proposition, but we would have had to write all that in the proposition. And after discussing it with Joe, we thought that it was a lengthy proposition that people that did not understand what's going on would never understand. So we felt that it would be better that every time that we talk about it, we'll explain how we're going to use those 600,000 rather than put it in a proposition.
There are two propositions then in the approval for this bond. The 8 point, sorry if I could,
Presentation.
I had them here. So